Despair. Despair. Let's discuss despair. So lately, I've had a lot of communication with people who are either attempting to take their life. Recently, I just had a client take his life due to despair. Despair, we'll sum it up on a short dictionary, means loss of hope. You don't have hope. It's something that's kind of plaguing the younger generations. Not saying that it doesn't affect those older, and such, but it's plaguing the younger generation. And the younger generation, from me either mentoring or meeting people or coming across people or in my travels, tend to feel that there's nothing here for them, that things have failed them, that they're forgotten about, they're not looked at. When I say younger generation, I don't mean just kids or teenagers. I mean 30 years old, a little above 30, under 30. They tend to feel hopeless. No matter with what life gives them, they feel hopeless. They aren't equipped mentally in most cases. They aren't equipped spiritually in most cases. And in some instances, they aren't equipped physically in some cases. But they feel hopeless. So we have to look into that. And when you look into that, you have to look into prior generations, and mainly the generation before, and we have to look at how society has changed. And we have to look at our role in how society changed, or our role in allowing society to change to a magnitude where it affects, our future generations. So if we look at a day of anyone from, we'll say, 10 to 25 to 30, we'll keep this a large range. So most in that generation span, like I said, it's a large range, haven't been through duration of things that have built them to first critically think, solve problems, survive certain situations. That doesn't mean that they haven't had a rough life. That doesn't mean that they haven't gone through things, but they haven't learned to pull from those experiences or learn to adapt from those situations. So whenever something drastic occurs, they either want to, one, quit, two, jump to something else without following through, or just do away with everything altogether, be it their life, the situation where they live, it's just. So looking at the prior generations before, it's not that generations before haven't given examples. It's not that, we can go into fatherless homes, there's homes where people have both parents, we can go into a lot of magnitude of things, but the main thing is that the giving of so much without achievement or earning has caused a great despair to younger generations. When you don't have to earn, or when you don't have to go and get, or when you don't have to figure out a way, and it's always given to you, it leaves the younger generation, when it comes down to struggle, feeling hopeless. And again, I said younger generation is a large span. And I say I left that span open because I've talked to ages at the span of where I said I started, we'll say 9, 10, all the way up through those years to 30. So prior generations we know to deal with certain things. Sometimes you got to go through certain things to get to certain levels, get to certain places, take hits, whatever, and maybe, a lot of us didn't feel that was easy, but, at the end of the day, we went through it and we learned and we picked ourselves up and we know, hey, if I want this, I got to go do this. But also in that prior generation, we have adopted this, give everything to the future generations. Let them have this. Don't do that. Don't say that. No. Can't make anybody tough keeping them sitting in cotton. Can't make anybody tough putting cushion around them all the time. And I don't mean just physically tough. I mean fortified tough. Knowing that this situation ain't that bad. This is not the worst situation I've gone through. Knowing that I made mistakes that caused this situation to be this way, or the experience that I'm going through to be this way. So I need to own up to that so I can move forward. Meaning that, man, this is a tough one, but I'm not going to let it rock me. Not today. Because I know that I have a goal or a plan or a vision or an idea, or I know where I want to get to. And I know that I'm gonna do it no matter how hard it is, no matter what it takes. So if we take all of that and we don't give that to somebody, but we give them something in a place of it, and it's not that, what's gonna happen when things get real? Panic. I wanna. Oh no. We cause the downfall and despair of our future generations by not being stern. Yeah, everything doesn't have to be, rub some dirt on it, you'll be okay. But you do have to make people earn. That's how you build ethic. That's how you build character. You have to make them earn. Earning is the key to life. Can't expect a kid to want to work a job if they ain't never had to earn anything in life. You can't expect them to be strong when things happen if they never had to earn anything in life. If you haven't taught them the value of working, not just working a job, but working towards something. Man, I mean, it goes back to us growing up. You sat and did like a 500-piece puzzle. Now that'd probably kill a kid in the head. I'm not doing that. What are you guys doing that for? What is the point? But those little things built things, made you appreciate time, taught you patience, taught you that you have to figure this out, twist it around, see if it'll fit, match it up, connect the dots, figure out how to get to a solution. Not as soon as something arises, I'm done. No. So think about that when we as parents, or we as aunts and uncles, and said we want the other generations to be better than us. They already have something that's making them better than us. That's technology. But if we give them the fortitude to be strong in certain things, imagine how much they'll blossom. We don't want our kids growing up and never being told they're great, they're amazing, you're beautiful, you're a good person. Because if not, when things happen on them, they don't have anything to pull back from. That's what happens when you give everything. They have nothing to pull back from because they never worked to earn to know how to pull back. It's like throwing your kid into a ring fighting and they've never learned any techniques of fighting style. They're gonna get murdered by a boxer. So it's like, and that boxer is life. Life will box you to the ground. It will make you want to stop. It will punch you in the gut. But that's life, and they don't realize from that age span I said now that that's real life, because everything's been given. They don't know that if I get hit, I throw a hit back. And I don't mean physically. Again, they don't understand that this is just a rough day, rough situation. Tomorrow's different. Today, whatever. Tomorrow will be better. They don't know that. given everything. And then when things go bad for them, we expect them to know. But we can't do that when they didn't come up in a time or era where that was important and valued. If we don't make sure the principles and values and morals and ethics and character are valued, how are we going to know? We expect them to know because we grew up in that. And it was just, we lived in a time where everybody thought that same way and felt that same way. Your neighbor would be on you just as hard to do the right thing when you're out in the street, just like your parents would sometimes, or your grandparents, or your mom, or your dad, and there's really no excuse. There's no excuse. So now we have people in despair searching for examples to go after, searching for light, searching for enlightenment, searching to be good, because we've allowed everything around us to manipulate everything on the inside of us. And that's the downfall of this whole era of time that we live in. We've allowed everything on the outside to manipulate everything on the inside. So right now there's a child who feel like they're not pretty because of what TV says. Right now there's a boy that feels like he's not strong enough or he's not tough enough because he's not willing to kill everybody and beat up everybody. Right now there's adults that are still going through peer pressure because society makes them think they're supposed to be a certain way. If you're not a child or a teenager or even in your early 20s, you're an adult. You know better. Grow up. Stop trying to be like the kids and grow up. If you live on your own, you're responsible for yourself. Take ownership of mistakes that you made, things you've done wrong, and move forward. But by all means, don't make excuses and don't live in despair. Because when you did everything that you were doing, or when you do everything that you're doing that may cause you to feel that way, you're not thinking about despair then. You're thinking about just doing something, or you're thinking about looking outside to society or following what's going on or being trendy. You're allowing that to cause your despair. You're allowing somebody to put a picture up to cause your despair. You're allowing somebody to emulate something to cause your despair. And that's not real life. That's a matrix. Things we see sometimes is not so far from real. It's nothing to make yourself look more than what you are. It's nothing. It's nothing to do that these days. Don't let the outside stuff cause problems on the inside. You can't be hopeless because of things or actions that you may have done or mistakes you have went through. Learn from them, think your way through it, and move forward. It's important. Now, if you don't want to be here, then, that's between you and, God forbid, whoever you believe in. If you don't want to be here, but if you quitting because of something in the world, no, because here's the reality. If you're over 21, nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to save you. If you're a young man and you're over 21, and don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean your mom or your dad or your uncles or your aunties or your grandparents not there for you to help you if you have those people in your life. That doesn't mean your friends, if they see that you're struggling, may not be there to help you. But in reality, it's you. It's you. You're obligated to you. You were given the flesh and the bones and everything on the inside to do what you need to do and figure out what you need to do and figure out who you need to be and are supposed to be. So we have to stop allowing that to happen. This outside stuff is causing so much despair on our children, on our teens, on our young adults, on our adults. Well, like I said when I started, lately I have spoken or mentored to a lot of people that are in a state of hopelessness. And we can blame it on the pandemic all we want, but we all know when you get to a point where you're either discussing or thinking of taking your life, or you get to a point where you take your life, it's been piling up for a long time. Pandemic has nothing to do with it. Pandemic may have just brought it out. It made it worse. Check on your people, your little people. Teach them how to work. Teach them how to build. Get them to think. Get them to use their favorite thing, this phone, as a tool. We gotta do something, and we have to do that quickly, because as you can see, things are growing to the worst. For every step someone takes in a good path every day, there's death, violence, pain, hurt, despair, loss, every day around the globe, not just at some of our homes. But that doesn't mean that there's not peace out there. That doesn't mean that it's not people striving to have more peace on this planet. That doesn't mean there's not servants out here that's obligated to spread good and kindness and fight for the life that some people may or may not want. That doesn't mean that people aren't ordained with a duty by God to try to keep things positive, keep things flourishing for people who are coming behind. That's the thing. Somebody thought about me, whether I knew them or not. Not just my mother, not just my father, not just my grandparents or my relative. Somebody thought about me, whether I knew them or not. And they took a stand, no matter what the situation was. They risked their life. They risked their voice. They risked probably their family situation, because they were thinking about somebody else is coming next. I've lived by that, and that's helped me be a better father. That's helped me be a better man. That's helped me be a better brother, friend, uncle, cousin, because I always think about others it's coming behind me. And I always think about the fact that somebody's watching, and somebody may need to see an example. If you don't have an example in your home, whether it's father, mother, uncle, brother, auntie, look around. You may have a neighbor that gets up every day, waters his grass, sits outside, read the paper, read something on his phone, go for a walk. Look around. Hey, I know their life may be different, but find somebody to study. Find somebody to study. When I say study them, don't study their Instagrams and study what they've gone through. Because that's what's happening now. Everybody's seeing the 15, but they're not seeing the 1 through 15, what somebody did to get to where they're at. They don't hear the story, of what it took for somebody to get all the way where they're at, how hard it was, losing people, losing friends, going through this, going through that, getting hurt, almost dying. It's like it's paths to these things. But when you hand someone an idea or a concept of the life that this is what it is, without all the preparation for it, then of course, when it doesn't happen as easy, or when it's not able to be attained, or when it doesn't work out, or when I can't get it even though I still made mistakes, I want to hurt myself. I want to take my life. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to quit. I want to give up. No. Because I can guarantee you, anybody who is somewhere went through some kind of storm at least once in their life. You blessed if it's only been once. Most times it's been more than once. So don't count yourself out. whoever may watch this, I really don't do it for all that. I really don't do it for likes and shares and subscriptions and all that stuff, because the message is the message, man. It don't have to, it's not even about that. Yeah, you want it heard, but if it reaches one ear or a million ears, whatever. I'm doing duty. But help people. If you know someone, help people out here. If you know children, help don't be ashamed to step out and be different. Don't be ashamed to be unique. Don't be ashamed to not go with the flow of the world, because every great person didn't. Every great person didn't. Some of the greatest people we've read about, some of the greatest history we know about, biblical all the way up, before biblical all the way up to now, to reality. People took a stand to go against the world, not go with the world, or they worked to bend the world to the will for others, for people coming behind. So prior generation, speaking to you too, someone thought for us to be here. So let's start thinking for the future that's coming behind us. And then maybe, just maybe, we won't have younger generations being in so much despair. We'll see that, hey, if we set the right example, and it's bigger than just going to school and going to work. Bigger than going to school and getting a job. It's bigger than that. Life is bigger than that, because as we can see, there are people who acquire so many things in life and they still don't want to be here. They still have a lot of pain. They still have a lot of hurt, whether it's black, white, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. Hurt and pain can't be schooled and bought away. You're not going to buy it away. It takes time. It takes love. It takes building. It takes caring. It takes someone being disciplined. It takes someone wanting to help. It takes someone else who's not willing to give up. It takes someone to say, I felt like that. I felt like that. I felt like that. I thought about it. But let me tell you what I did instead. I was hurt once, but let me tell you what I did instead. I didn't think I'd make it out this situation, but let me tell you what I did instead. I cried. I prayed. I meditated. I went running. I started working out. I went and broke a plate outside. I went and started hacking trees in the backyard. Whatever. But let's stop acting like everything's all good all the time, and then handing people this false sense of dreams and illusions that everything's just be okay if I just give it to you. No. And then we throw them out to the wolves and be like, yeah, go work. Go. What's wrong with you? Why won't you go? Gotta change. Gotta fight for our life truly. As we can see, we're not cared about by a system so much all the time. No matter how much is said and talked about, you see it any given day. By the sign of a pen, life can change for some people. By the sign of a pen, things can be worse for some people. By the sign of a pen, a law can be made and it not even matter to the mainstream of the world. It still be hate, still be pain. So we gotta combat that. And think about those coming behind us. Long, didn't expect this to be that long, but like I said, needed to be heard, came through me, and a lot of people lately have been going through a lot of despair. We have to remember, when all these things are going on around us, negativity, death, destruction, negative talk, negative thoughts, nasty things, perverted things, it's like all these things are going around your kids. That energy is going around kids too, just as much as going around adults. And everybody's not strong enough to just keep going and ignore it. No matter how many times you go to church, no matter how many times you go to a mosque, no matter how many times you go to a synagogue, no matter how many times you pray, you still got to keep praying and protect your mind and your heart. You know, it ain't just a one and done thing. And that's the thing we've taught, or we've allowed the younger generation to think that life is a one and done thing. One thing and I'm a millionaire. One thing and no, it's not a one and done thing. Life isn't a one and done thing. It's consistency, it's dedication, it's discipline, it's patience, it's work. That's character. That's character. We stop building character in younger people. So now that the weight of the world is on them, it's natural for them to feel hopeless. And any of you who know history, go look back and see how much of the weight of the world was on other cultures and other people's shoulders on this planet. It's a lot worse than it is now. A lot worse. A lot worse. So what does that tell us? Somewhere we went wrong. But even out of this great failure, it can still be good success, because it can teach us and educate us, and we can learn from these experiences. So keep it moving. Let's stomp out this despair and hopelessness in the children, man. Let's stomp this out in adults. You know, let's give a line to people if they need to just talk to somebody before they take their life, before they go hurt someone or harm themselves. You know, it's a lot of pain in the world. And as we can see, it can't be solved with just material gain. You know, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. So, fight for your life. Peace.